Hey class, so I'm going to be going over our syllabus in this video, and I'm going to take myself off the screen so that we can see how to access our syllabus. So there's two different syllabi in here. One is a PDF version you can print out. Many students like to do that. And there's also a digital version, which you would click here and then go page by page. Let me show you how to do that, just in case somebody wants to do that. And they're almost identical. There's like some little pictures and stuff that might be different, but I did my best to make them exactly the same. What you would do is you go page by page, and then you would hit this little next button to go to the next page, and then it would have the information. Okay, so you just keep going next, next. What I'm going to do for the video is I'm going to go over the PDF version, which I think is a little bit easier. Let me try to move this over. Okay, so let me try to move this. Our class information is right here, and there's kind of a table of contents here if you want to skip to certain pages and find things. Our course information is here, things other students have said, our course description, and how to be successful in our online class. Our course objectives. Our course is really split up into three main parts, and I like to say that it answers three questions. Who am I is the first part, and during that one there's a lot of personal assessment we're going to be going over. The next one is what's out there for me, and in that one, that's part two, the career exploration. That's where you're going to look at your interests, your strengths, and your skills and kind of research some options. And then the third part is how do I get what I want? So when you leave part two going into part three, by then most students have a pretty good idea which major or which career they want to go into. Some students know what major they want to go into and they're trying to figure out a career still. Some students really find a career they're interested in and then they are going backwards and trying to figure out the major that's going to help. So you can be either way. I think the other thing that's important to know is regardless of whether you know what your major is or not, this class is very useful in confirming your plan, okay? So sometimes students are like, well, I already know what I'm majoring in, or I'm getting ready to transfer, I've already done my undergrad stuff. This is still a very useful class for you. I have the Chafee's Institutional Learning Outcomes here. There's information about me. So you can read through and kind of figure out my perspective. This is the different ways you can contact me. So there's 5 different ways you can contact me, and this goes through it. Again, like I said, we have a 48-hour policy. I'm going to try to not make my video too long. Sometimes my syllabus video gets like to 20 minutes, and so I'm sorry if I'm talking really fast. You can watch this or rewatch it or look at the syllabus yourself whenever you would like. The course requirements. So every week we're going to have a reading typically from our textbook, and you can access that textbook. I have it on each of the modules. Whatever chapter you have to do, there's a link to it. You can also access it from our homepage. There's an attendance activity which is due on Sunday. So all your assignments are due on Sundays, except there's one caveat, and I will show you that in a second. Lecture activities, there's usually a couple of those you have to do. Those are also due on Sunday. Quizzes, you only have the 2 the first week, the syllabus quiz and the Netiquette quiz, and there's video walkthroughs for all your assignments. So if you have any questions, the video walkthrough should answer those. And then here we get to the caveat, the discussion. So we have 5 discussions in our course total. So we have 14 weeks. So obviously we don't have a discussion every week, but I do want you to be able to interact with your peers. So discussions, when you post your discussion, you have to post your discussion by Saturday at 11:59. That's the only caveat. And I do that so that you have a chance to allow your peers to respond to you. If I made everything due on Sunday, a lot of times what happens is a lot of students wait to the last minute and then people don't have anyone to respond to. So that's why I do that. You can always do it earlier. That's really nice too. The other thing is, you can't do your peer reply. So for the discussions, you have to post your answer to whatever is questions there are. And then you have to reply to 2 of your peers' posts by Sunday. Okay, so by the next day. Now, to reply to your peers' post, you first have to post your own reply. And if you don't post your own reply, you will not be eligible to earn any points from peer peer replies. In fact, it won't even let you do it. Okay. Personalized projects, like I said, there are 6. Here they are. And then I also mentioned that if you finish the 5 personalized projects, the Lifeline, the personality preferences, the career exploration, the education plan, and the resume, and you finish all these 5 with a passing grade of 70% or a C or higher, then the career plan you don't have to do, you will automatically get 100 points. And typically what I do is I email everyone a couple weeks ahead of time after I grade the resume project and let you know. You'll get a little congratulations email that says you don't have to do the final plan. Here's our textbook. There's a link to it here. Another great book that I recommend is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is also a great exploration book, and it's very small, fairly inexpensive. I mean, it's usually like $3 to $5. Then we have success strategies. This is really important. Okay, let me point out a couple things. This is really important because on our syllabus quiz, I'm going to ask you what are our projects, right? What are the 6 projects? I'm also going to ask you what are 2 success strategies you want to do and try for a class, and why. The why is always important. Please make sure to explain why. And they're listed here. This is the grading for our class. It's on this page 2. I have all the points added up here, and totals 1350. And then here's the percentages. So if you look here, I want you to notice that a passing grade in college is C or higher. This is also a question in your syllabus quiz, okay? So a passing grade is C or higher. So there's C and C+. There are no C minuses in college. And anything below a C is considered failing. You'd have to repeat the class. Okay, academic honesty and behavior. Here's all the information that kind of applies to us. There's a lot more. I included links to the behavioral code if you would like to look at that. Our classroom policies, this is pretty important. So in the last day to add this class, if you want to add, is February 2nd. And the last day to drop the class without getting a W, which stands for withdrawal, is February 13th. You can drop the class after this date until April 4th, but you will get a W, a withdrawal on your record. And for more information, if you want to know how that would affect you, I encourage you to talk to your counselor, your academic counselor, about that. Drop due to no entry or participation online. That just means that if for 2 weeks you haven't had any online presence, I might drop you from the class. So if anything goes on, the big thing I want you to remember is communicate. If you're having issues, if whatever is going on, just send me an email and let me know what's happening. A lot of times students wait till like almost the end of the class and they've had like 4 weeks where they haven't done any work, and they're like, this major thing happened, and by that time there's nothing I can do. So if anything happens and you need some help, or there's some, emergency happening in your life, please reach out and communicate. Now, I don't accept any late work for our class. Work can't be emailed to me in lieu of the options above, like when you turn it in on Canvas. All work has to be turned in on Canvas. I don't accept late work for a number of reasons, okay? I have a lot of students who are like, why don't you accept late work? Well, one, I offer instead a lot of extra credit for you to do. And 2, during spring break, you have an opportunity to make up a personalized project and an attendance activity along with other extra credit. I have very strict deadlines when I have to post grades and do a census and all this kind of stuff. And so it is not really easy for me to grade late work and go back and change grades. I don't really even go on campus anymore. I'm a legally disabled person as well, so I work from home in my private practice. I do only telehealth, and every day of the week I'm working. So it is very difficult for me to actually change a student's grade. Can it happen? Yeah, but generally, I have never really accepted late work in my full 20 years. I know some people do. My policy is I'd rather give you extra credit and let you just move on and not get stuck in the past trying to make up assignments that you haven't done. Contact me. I already went over that information. The best way is always through email. I recommend students to do that because it also gives you, a record of your contact. Students with disabilities, if you live your life with a disability, please, I encourage you to take advantage of the disability programs, the DPS Center. Questions, this is on your syllabus quiz too. There's a Q&A discussion on our home page. The best way is if your question is not private in any way and it has to do with a due date or an assignment, post it here so that other students can get the value of that, okay? There's etiquette information here, discussion guidelines, okay? If you've never done discussions, make sure you look over that. There's more information about classroom policies and sexual harassment. Accessibility and diversity, there's information here that is very helpful. Technology and browsers, I updated this, I think, a year ago, so some of this might be a little bit outdated. Setting goals, I think it's really helpful if you set a goal for each of these, a goal for your career, your education, your personal life. The course writing expectations, this is a college course, and while you're not going to be writing any papers, all your projects require you just to write a college level paragraph. And I have examples of those to help you in our course writing expectations paper. And you'll see that in Module 1 as well in Week 1. If you have problems with writing, you will have a difficult time in college, so I encourage you to take advantage of the resources on campus to get your skills up to par. You can do that through the Language Success Center. Where to find help, those course questions, of course, you can ask me. Distance education help, Canvas help. Again, students living with disabilities, here's some information. Are you ready for online learning? What will your approach be? This is an important page as well because this is on your syllabus quiz. So I'm going to ask you what will your approach be to the class. So make sure you look through each of these three and decide for yourself which one you're going to choose in approaching our course and why. Then the next few pages are just student resources, okay, on campus. And I include them here because our class encompasses your whole life. It's not just career exploration, it's also life planning. So I wanted to make sure I include all the resources that would be helpful for you. Okay, then we get to our class schedule. Okay, so important things. Remember, essentially everything is due on Sundays unless you have a discussion. If you have a discussion, you have your post that is due on Saturday. And then I have it broken up into our modules. Okay, so what I do is I've opened up Module 1, so Week 1 and 2. The second week, the last week of a module, I'll open up the next module. I don't like to open everything up right away because there's a lot of activities and I don't want to overwhelm you. If for some reason you do want to work ahead and you want something open, just send me an email. There's a couple things I do want to point out. So I have in here everything that you have to do, right? Except when we get to this page, I want to make sure and point this out, and I'm going to point it out a lot during our class. The personalized project education plan, let me see when it's due. Okay, so that is actually due on March 31st, okay? If you were part of a special program like EOPS, DPS, veterans, international students, CalWORKs, you probably have a comprehensive education plan done already. And if it's been done within the last year, you can use that for that assignment. If you have not done that, you need to schedule a counseling appointment to create a comprehensive education plan. Start doing it this week because it can take 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes to get an appointment. And inevitably, I always get students this week, the week that it's due, trying to schedule an educational plan appointment, and it's impossible, okay? And I don't want you to miss out on being able to skip your final paper. And that's about it. I'm like, here's all the due dates. You'll see that during spring break, this is an extra credit opportunity week. You can make up stuff that week. You'll see it in there. And our last week's a little bit long, but you just have a couple things due if you have to do your personalized, your last personalized project, the My Career Plan. And that is pretty much it. I went over it really quick and I did get under 15 minutes. Yay! And again, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me.